Good morning, YouTube. It is the local truck driver coming back at you. We got a decent early start this morning. We headed up to Peabody, Mass. We're up here now. We just got to the stop and not enough room to get in the door. They don't open till 8. I didn't think I was going to be here this early because I hit a lot of traffic. But it's about 20 past 7 now, so we got a little time to chill. They have their own company trucks that got to get out right there, 2 of them. I only got 1 skid, 2 small drums on 1 skid, so I'm definitely getting in front of this guy. And there's another one already in a door, same company, I believe. So he'll probably go where he is. These 2 guys are. I'll take one of those doors. But we're gonna go open up the barn doors right now and get ready, and then just chill until it's time to back in. So let's go. Beautiful morning. I think it's got to be already about 62, 63, light breeze, clear skies for the most part. Yeah, it's going to be a good day. Except for the fact I'm pretty sure my brand new truck needs a transmission. I'll explain. Nothing to do with my driving skills. But last week there was an incident with a hose popping off. It's an oil line for the transmission to a cooler that the oil runs through. It cools the oil, goes back into the transmission. It's a cycle. Well, it's designed as a quick connect, quick disconnect, whatever you want to call it, and it popped off while I was driving at some point. I don't know when, but I started hearing the transmission whining and howling, so I pulled over. At that time, I didn't know it was the transmission, so I pull over on the highway, nice and out of the way. I get underneath the truck. There's oil everywhere. Boom, right away, call service. I shut the truck off because I didn't know if it was oil from like the engine or the transmission. I just shut the truck off. And I get under there and I see this quick disconnect was not connected. So I stuck it back in, it went click, stayed in. Road service guy basically came out and said, dude, yeah, you lost like all your transmission fluid. So he had to leave, go back to Ryder to get the synthetic oil that goes in these trucks. Fills it up. I'm good to go. I'm driving. Well, now since then, there's a lot of whining through most of the gears. I'd say the only gears that doesn't whine in is 4th and 9th. And on a 10-speed, that's the same spot. So I'm wondering if that's why it's not whining in there. It didn't affect whatever. I don't know. All I know is that it's much louder whining than it ever was. It's not the turbo. So I called my local rider that I deal with for my truck and trailer, and he said, well, we'll have to drive it with you, and if we hear it, then we'll replace it. It only takes a couple days. They do it right there. I said, oh, wow, that's not bad. And I talked to him this morning. So he's going to, I got to get over there at some point and take him for a ride. I took him for a ride last Friday because it was making the noise, but I was bobtailing, meaning I had no trailer. And he said, oh, I think that's the turbo. And I said, I don't know, man. He said, well, drive it and see, if it gets any louder or whatever. So today is Wednesday. That was last Friday. Obviously, I don't drive on the weekends, so, these last 3 days, it's, 6th, 7th gear, and 8th are probably the loudest, those 3 gears, and it's like, It's really whiny, really loud, and the turbo is more of like a hiss, like a this is like a whine. But regardless, I have to let them go with me, point out the sound. If they hear it and say, yep, transmission's no good, then they'll replace it, and that's that. And the truck's only down for a couple days. Which I was really surprised about, because I thought, all things going to be gone for like 6 months at Freightliner, in some, Freightliner dealer somewhere. But it's not. That's good news. He said, no, we'll, if we hear it, we don't wait till it breaks. If we hear the transmission making an awful noise, we'll just order a refurbished one. They're not brand new. They're refurbished transmissions. Like, they'll take this transmission and rebuild it, and it'll be, something like my situation. They'll put it in another truck. So I'm kind of sketchy about that too, getting a refurbished transmission that, you don't know what was wrong with that one. But I mean, you would think, okay, they're going to refurbish it. They're not going to put it back in circulation without it being 100%. So there's nothing wrong with this transmission as far as like the shifting and stuff. Not yet. It's still shifting fine. But that whining noise is like driving me insane. It's really loud and annoying. I mean, it's not deafening, but you can hear it. Like if you were next to me on the highway and had your windows down, you would hear, wee, it's, so I think they'll hear it, and I think they'll replace it. And, he's like, you just keep driving it until we get the new one. The transmission's, it's not going to blow or anything like that. I mean, it's full of fluid now. They did check that Friday, because they said, well, maybe it's whining because it's still low on fluid. The guy didn't put enough in it on the road. Not the case. It was full, but there were a lot of shards of the metal on the magnet, which, is to be expected. It was running without fluid for probably a good 4 or 5 miles before I was like, all right, I don't know what this is, And I didn't have anywhere to pull over anyway. I was on a back road with no breakdown lane, no big enough businesses to get into. And, I hear a guy leaving, so I think I'm going to get in the door. Yeah, I think I can get in number 8. Let's go try. This ought to be interesting.